This is a game to them.
What's the next level?
A violent video game inspires a real crime.
Bitches will die. No social justice in gaming. This is what happens to slut bitches who mess with gamers.
This can't be real, right?
It's real.
Ah yes, the infamous imitation game episode, where a female video game developer is harassed and threatened by a group of misogynistic cyber-terrorists. Brought to you by Law Order Special Victims Unit, the seemingly never-ending show about
crimes, specifically sex crime.
Jesus, fuck my eye, Christ, is it bad?
One of the biggest piles of horse shit I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen a lot of horse shit in my day.
what the fuck? It's without a doubt one of the worst things I've ever seen, and it pretty much made me want to get
Roy into the news!
So grab some bleach and join me as I go through the episode Imitation Game. We start off with a bit of not so subtle foreshadowing, telling us that yes, boys are indeed violent.
Boys run around to break things, they hurt themselves, it's in all their DNA.
Violence is not the answer. Please do not do the violence. Thank you.
And in the very next scene we see our police unit here playing what looks to be one of the worst games I've ever seen. It has a huge ass logo sticking out for no reason, the health bar is way too big, and the damn minimap doesn't seem to even work. You're supposed to see your allies on the radar, and usually the enemies too when they're shooting, but nothing. And don't even get me started on the animation and graphics. It looks like something you could see in the early 2000s, even though this episode presumably takes place in the current year.
It's 2015 and I got to go crazy.
Wow, sir.
Later on we also hear a female developer talk shit about this game, saying that it's using the same 10-year-old engine.
The FPS with new skins but the same 10-year-old engine.
But every fucking game in this episode looks like it's running on a 10-year-old engine.
Nearly 2 years in the making.
What?
What?
What? 2 years.
This looks terrible, women! What the fuck?
You know what that is? You know what that is?
Shit.
That's just fucking... Fucking thing sucks!
Copy FPS with new skins but the same 10-year-old engine.
Yes, look at our revolutionary game. That looks even worse than the game my coworker trash-talked earlier.
Logic.
No gamer in their right fucking mind would ever want to buy this game.
Damn campers.
What's a camper?
Lazy creeps that hide behind stuff.
This happens a lot in the episode. The writers want to be hip with the youth, so they try to use the same language that gamers use, but this show's target audience isn't exactly gamers, so they have to do that whole awkward thing where one character says a word, and then the other character asks what that word means. Because if the viewer doesn't get all these words explained, then they're going to have this reaction.
Okay, I'm not going to understand a word that anybody's saying about this.
They are not noobs.
Noobs?
Short for newbies.
They were just like total FALs.
Failures in life.
The FPS with new skins but the same 10-year-old engine.
First-person shooter.
So I checked a few gamer sites online.
Forums for players to rate games, comment, fulminate, spew.
I get that, but swatted, help me out here. It's anonymous calls to 911, sending the SWAT team to your home.
You doxed the girl that was sharing the booth with her. Doxing's when you publish personal information, phone numbers, passwords online.
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality.
It's like you're actually inside of the game.
I'm good.
Okay, let's talk about the acting real quick. It's not great, and at times it's just straight up fucking terrible.
Raina?
Yes, it's Raina.
I didn't know it was
I'm sure you didn't.
Shut up, bitch! You're just like Raina. Don't talk, officer! Loud noises!
But what can you expect when they decide to hire YouTube celebrities like Logan Paul instead of actual actors?
Don't do drugs. Do anime.
And let's not forget about the farting extraordinaire Jack Vale, who really, really likes to make farting videos on YouTube.
Just stop! Just stop it! Stop! No! Just stop it!
And last but not least, we have Toby Turner, aka Tobuscus, on YouTube.
Did I even tell you 9 o'clock Law Order SVU? I'm in it and I hold a microphone and I say some stuff, a couple lines, probably really brief. Hopefully it's not terrible. It's terrible.
But then there's this guy.
No.
And I have to say, he does give an over-the-top performance that's kind of enjoyable in a way. Yeah, the guy isn't even a gamer and he apparently thinks it's this fun watching people play games. I don't buy it.
No.
I mean, people don't even get this excited when they're watching the championship in Counter-Strike.
And with the flank coming in, it is going to be Snacks with a kill instead of triple. That puts Virtus Pro on 14 rounds. They just slowly choked them out of that round.
And then there's this guy. And this guy is supposed to be a gamer, but it just sounds like he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I know. I read on Kotaku that it's better than Civ 5 with the Brave New World expansion pack.
With the Brave New World expansion pack.
They probably had to go, well, what is a website that all these gamers go to? Oh, I bet they go to Kotaku.
Well, I read on Kotaku.
Let's have Finn talk about Kotaku. It was just very exceptionally artificial.
He gets upset that like an 8-year-old kid snipes him, so he just like throws the controller like a gigantic baby. You know, like no gamer would huck their controller.
We now come to our first scene with the sexist gamers.
Go home, gamer girl.
But believe it or not, there's actually some other guys in this episode who are even more badass. The sexist gamer terrorists.
Shut up, bitch. You don't know what to do. Shut up, bitch!
Oh my god, we have a badass over here. Bitch.
But let's find out what these sexist gamers want from our female developer, shall we?
What the hell is your problem?
You and your boss. Reina Punjabi only got this feminazi game made by being a slut.
A few moments later. These guys want Reina Punjabi out of the gaming world.
Just because she's a woman.
There's a lot of haters out there that think she slept her way into the business.
Ah, this is all about Gamergate.
What the fuck is Gamergate?
Long story short, there was a game developer called Zoe Quinn.
I'm a fucking train wreck.
And she allegedly slept around with people in the gaming industry, so she could get publicity for her game. Some gamers were not happy about this alleged collusion and decided to voice their concern. Zoe Quinn then played the victim card, and soon after the entire media was on her side and was labeling Gamergate as a movement against women in the gaming industry.
Gamergate, you might have heard that term. It's a torrent of attacks against women connected with the games business.
It then turned into a culture war, where one side wanted the alleged corruption and social justice preaching in the gaming industry to stop, and the other side that wanted to preserve the status quo. So if you haven't guessed it already, the two female game developers in this episode are supposed to represent these women. First we have Brianna Wu.
Last night, Law Order SVU aired a new episode called Intimidation Game, and it was kind of an allusion to Gamergate. And I got 200 emails and tweets telling me, David, you were on tonight's episode of SVU.
Then we have Anita Sarkeesian.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
And then most importantly, we have Zoe Quinn.
So heinous and so obvious that I was treated to watching a simulacrum of me and people I love mushed together into a single woman get gang raped by people saying the same things that people had said to me on primetime television in an episode of SVU.
Fuck!
This sounds pretty bad.
My worst and most egregious harassers use their legal names and make a living off of this. They have Patreons, they get paid for YouTube clicks. There's a number of people, you can probably think of at least one of them, I'll not go into it because this video is going to be posted online, that have made bank off of the backs of harassing people like me. And they use their names, they build their brand.
So your worst harassers are YouTubers like
the mighty Sargon of Akkad.
People who merely criticize ideas on the internet, huh? That's the worst we're talking about here? I'm sorry, but if that's the worst that has happened to you, then you're not getting my sympathy. How can people take this woman seriously?
Why? Why would you do that?
But many people do support her, and many of those people work in the media.
I've been reading articles online. I gotta say.
Hey, here's an article. I wonder who wrote this.
There it was. There I was thinking it was just me that had a problem, but it turns out it's the air conditioning that's sexist.
I know.
You're awake, by the way. You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell. This is your life now.
First games were satanic.
Dungeons & Dragons has been called the most effective introduction to the occult.
Then they were violent.
You are learning in a virtual reality to be violent, to enjoy being violent, how to kill, and so you're given an appetite as well as scenarios in which to be violent.
And now games are sexist.
I wrote a blog post a while ago about why I f***ing hate video games, because this is what it does. It appeals to like the male fantasy.
These people are all the same. They're all brainwashed Puritans who want to tell you that you can't enjoy these things because it offends them.
If someone tells me that I've hurt their feelings, I say, well, I'm still waiting to hear what your point is. Right. I'm very depressed how in this country you can be told, that's offensive, as if those two words constitute an argument.
Games don't make you satanic, violent, or sexist. It's all made up. It's the same old shit, just in a different era.
Anita Sarkeesian, at the worst, at the absolute worst, is asking that some games, in her point of view, stop sucking.
Milady.
No, Movie Bob, that is incorrect. These people will happily take away your rights if it makes them achieve their ideological goal.
I think it's important to recognize that harassment is, as someone had mentioned, it's not just what is legal and illegal, right? Harassment is threats of violence, but it's also the day-to-day grind of you're a liar, you suck, you know, making all of these hate videos to attack us on a regular basis.
Somebody said a mean thing on the internet, of all places.
So basically every piece of criticism sent towards these women is hate speech and it should be silenced. Well, that just sounds fucking great, doesn't it? And of course you don't have to provide any evidence for this supposed hate speech, right?
Like to basically use gendered violence slurs against me. That's my day-to-day. And it shouldn't be on people like me to have to prove this.
So you don't have to prove anything.
How convenient!
I mean, there's just no fucking way these people would lie. They would never do that.
How do you know someone didn't just make it up?
What? You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
Yes, definitely!
This is terrible! What if none of it's true?
I love games. I'm a fan of games.
Who plays video games?
I know someone who doesn't play video games.
I'm not a fan of video games. I don't want to go around shooting people and ripping off their heads, and it's just gross.
So yeah, these gamers apparently hate women in gaming for some reason. And that reason is misogyny. So of course they ambush her in the bathroom because, you know, why wouldn't they do that?
Why would they do that? Why would they do that?
That's right! Why would they do that?
I don't know.
What happened?
These guys, they just can't stand women in gaming.
What did they do to you?
They leveled up.
What the fuck does that mean? Ow, shit.
What happened to you?
They leveled up.
What do you mean?
They leveled up.
What are you talking about?
They leveled up.
They leveled up.
That makes total sense.
So now our badass gamers here have decided to go on the internet to brag about how they assaulted and touched the breasts of this female developer.
DM me for more deets on what an Amazonian warrior's tits are like. My boy and I caught the feel at the IVL. See if he wants to hook up.
And yes, they actually agreed to meet up with our detectives here, so they can all stand in a circle and talk about how nice it was to touch her breasts. But you may be asking, why are they meeting with the police? Well, these gamers obviously think they're meeting with some fellow women-hating gamers and not the police. So it totally makes sense, right?
No. Wrong.
This is my programmer, Greasy. Call me Sonny. Everybody does.
Are you serious?
I mean, this is something straight out of a fucking comedy skit.
Hello, fellow gamers. My name is Sunny.
Liar!
Your friend is even worse at this undercover shit. It's amazing.
Am I right? Yep. Won't make that mistake again. But,
Dude, are you trying to blow your cover or what? Any person with half a functioning brain would know that you were lying if you were to do those eyes.
Yeah.
So this motherfucker gets asked how it felt like to touch her breasts. And we did get this.
They were a pretty nice handful. They were kind of small, but nice and pretty.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm just gonna casually talk to somebody I've never met before about a sexual assault I committed. Happens all the time.
Yeah, and that's it. This meeting takes place for the sole purpose of talking about how nice and perky the female developer's breasts were. After that, they arrest these evil gamers.
I did not hit her. It's not true. Nice try. No reset button in the real world.
Jesus Christ.
The sexist gamer terrorists aren't very happy about this, so they decide to SWAT the lead developer of the game.
Raina? Everything okay? Let's go! What's happening? Raina? Raina, are you okay?
Hey guys, hello. Not only does she get swatted, she also gets doxxed.
And she got doxxed an hour ago. That's how they knew this address.
And where was that posted?
A subthread on Red Channel.
Red Channel?
Oh, that's great.
Do
we even know who is this Red Channel person or website?
Someone actually decided that it would be really clever to mix reddit.com with 4chan.org, which of course left them with RedChan. And remember, Ice-T is going to need the link to that subthread on RedChan.
Okay, that subthread, I'm gonna need the link.
So I got doxxed. I'll move, I'll change my passwords, my number.
Do you understand what's going on? This is serious.
I'm totally fucking serious right now!
I have to say I quite like Reina Punjabi as a character. She doesn't let harassment stop her from doing what she wants.
Yes. The game is being launched tomorrow at noon. That is the only thing that is going on.
And everyone is telling her to cancel the launch of the game, but she ain't having none of that.
Oh, hell no!
And I love how she calls out Sony for how they handled the interview.
I won't make the same mistake Sony did. It's better to be called a bitch than a coward.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
What do you say after that one? Brutal, savage, wrecked.
She then appears on stage to present her game, and wouldn't you know it, there's an evil force lurking in the shadows.
The goal? To get it right this time.
What's that?
Brandon, get down.
Stop! Enhance the image. My God. There's a sniper!
I am an ex-military sniper. You are prepare to die. I'm outside your house. I have a target on you.
Yes, the sniper sim we just saw in the Law Order SVU episode is most likely inspired by an episode of Sci-Fi Channel's The Internet Ruined My Life, where Zoe Park claims that men were trying to kill her because of a tweet she made.
I really did think that there was a chance that I could die.
What? No, are you fucking crazy?
And when you take what Brianna Wu has to say as gospel, then it's no surprise that this Gamergate episode is about gamers who commit terrorism against women in gaming.
I'm so hesitant to use the phrase terror, but this is
It's terrorism on women in this industry.
Literally terrorizing people.
All I have to do is add some ISIS music in the background, and then these gamers are pretty much indistinguishable from Islamic terrorist groups. But it turns out that there are no snipers, and it's just a couple of guys with laser pointers.
What a twist!
Which gets them thrown out, and she then makes this brilliant joke.
Wow, laser pointers. You know, my mom's cat loves those. As I was saying.
Yo, hold up. Where is all this laughter coming from? I doubt it's coming from these people, because none of them seem to be laughing.
You know, my mom's cat loves those. As I was saying.
Turns out the editor is just as incompetent as the rest of the team working on this episode. Just look at this guy and how he apparently vanishes into thin air.
It's
All you had to do is take a clip where the audience actually laughs, if you had any. If not, then just extend the shot of Reina until the shot is finished.
Wow, laser pointers. You know, my mom's cat loves those. As I was saying.
It's that fucking simple.
The game is collaborative, offering multiple points of view, so that the player...
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm! What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Calm down!
So yes, these gamer terrorists managed to kidnap her, even though the entire building was guarded by armed police. Fucking genius.
After they kidnap her, they hack into a billboard on the building adjacent, and they're like, "Game on, NYPD. We're in the back of a van, obviously live streaming our location to this billboard." Like, what the fuck?
Level complete.
Level complete. This is a game to them.
Okay, so what's the next level? Then.
Yep, he really does just ignore her like that. I guess he thinks it makes him look mysterious. Oh. The sexist gamer terrorists then decide to gang rape the lead developer of the game and put it out on the internet.
Where is this coming from?
All we know is it's streaming live.
Fuck it! We'll do it live. And we'll do it live! Fucking thing sucks!
And I kid you not, all of this is happening in his mother's basement.
The woman was kidnapped and her abductors were here in this house tonight. Oh, no.
And the only guarantee they have that she won't just come walking in on them is the fact that they presumably know that she will be home late.
No, there must be some
Ma'am,
mistake.
have you been at home here all night tonight?
I got home an hour ago from my book club.
I don't know, seems pretty fucking risky to me.
And your son's computer's been logged into an account that's been threatening Reina Punjabi for weeks.
No.
No. We then find out that everything they've done so far is part of a gamer script, including the rape.
Fen, do you think that they're still following a gamer script?
Rape is a mod in level 16 of COGS.
Hold on, so they kidnap and rape and it's a game?
It's like a user hack of the game.
But this brings up an interesting question. Who exactly are they raping in the game? You see, the game they're playing, Kill or Be Slaughtered, does not seem to be an open world game like Grand Theft Auto, where you could possibly imagine such a user hack maybe could take place. This is a competitive first-person shooter multiplayer game, and by the looks of it, there don't seem to be any women around in the game. So, do these players hack the game and then run around raping other male characters?
Look at that booty, show me the booty, give me the booty, I want the booty.
And how do they manage to do that in a competitive shooter game without being instantly killed by other players?
I guess we'll never know.
Reina?
I need your help.
Reina, are you using your phone?
No, I stole one of theirs. Please hurry.
We've now reached the final level of the game.
Okay, this is the final level of the game. They call the cops, and when they rush in to save her, they attack. This could be an ambush.
No, you think this could possibly be an ambush? What makes you say that? It's not like the whole point of this level is to be swatted by the police, like you just said. Right. So they breach the door and find her taped with their hands to a shotgun. But why? What was the point of all this? To just let them rescue her? Or were they counting on her being shot by the SWAT team? If they wanted her dead, then it would have been much easier to just do it themselves.
Fuck you!
Hey, maybe you should wait for your team. You know, the men with all the armor and AR-15s. No? No, okay. Just go out there by yourselves. It's not like you know these sexist gamer terrorists are going to try to kill you or anything like that, huh? Oh, wait. It's so stupid.
I never meant for this to go so far. Ryan and Pierce made me, they're crazy.
They made you participate in kidnapping and gang rape?
Are you freaking kidding me?
And some of you might be thinking, did all of these gamer terrorists really participate in the raping? Well, here he is taking off his jacket, so unless he got too hot all of a sudden, I'm pretty sure he was going to do some raping.
Drop it!
At first, I thought the guy fell down because of the impact and shock of being shot. But no! No one actually shoots him. He falls down because he shoots a single shot from his handgun. If these women can shoot one-handed deagles with no problem, then this fucker should be able to shoot a single 9mm shot without falling down like a bitch. But this scene obviously makes sense in the head of these writers, because gamers only shoot guns in video games. So when they shoot guns in real life, they think there will be zero recoil.
Recoil! Not like shooting in a video game, huh?
Oh yeah.
Actually, it's exactly the same.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat.
I think it's safe to say that this scene, yeah, it didn't go unnoticed by the viewers. But not everyone sees something like this and just laughs it off as a funny meme. The sad truth is there are actually people who are stupid enough to blame a murder on video games, simply because it is recorded in the same perspective as a first-person shooter game.
There is a element of this that makes it look like a video game, because if you think about video games, they're first-person shooters. People in a game, they're having a controller, the gun is in front of them, and they're firing. That is how a lot of young people experience weapons. They experience guns as video games. Unfortunately, a video like this, it has that same perspective, and yet it is so real.
Fucking kill yourself.
Just imagine the shock of these people if they were to watch a full-length first-person film such as Hardcore Henry. Their fucking heads would explode.
Anyway,
after the beautiful first-person shot, we see Ice-T come up from behind, and he then gives the sexist gamer terrorist an ultimatum.
Stop it. You're fired.
We're now reaching the end of the episode, and maybe, just maybe, it ends with a message saying that not all gamers are evil, Fucking nope!
Women in gaming. What did I expect?
I have to say I quite like Reina Punjabi as a character.
Whatever.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
You said if you gave up, they'd win.
They already did.
Terrorists win.
So why did these sexist gamer terrorists decide to do all these horrible acts and even risk their life doing so? Well, I've done some research and I've come up with 4 reasons why. Number 1, they don't like women in gaming.
The guys who did this don't like women in gaming.
Number 2, they think her game is derivative, mind-numbing garbage.
Her game is derivative, mind-numbing garbage.
Number 3, they think she's a whore who uses sex to get where she is.
She's a whore who uses sex to get where she is.
Number 4, they think she took away the one thing that they had, just because she decided to make her own game.
She took away the one thing that we had.
These gamers are apparently so delusional that they can't even differentiate between games and reality.
This is a game to them.
They don't know what's real and what's a game.
See, I know the difference between video games and reality. Those guys didn't.
And according to Ice-T, they also see game developers as gods.
Well, in their world, a developer's like God. And some guys aren't ready to give a girl that power.
And all of this makes perfect sense, of course, because,
I have no idea!
You really gotta hand it to these writers. They managed to write something so unbelievably stupid that I have a hard time even imagining how something like this can even exist.
Oh, this can't be true. It has to be a mistake.
Did anybody proofread this?
But why did they choose to portray gamers in such a negative way? Was it out of ignorance? Or maybe malice? Well, here's Ice-T's take on it.
And I just want to tell any gamer out there that's listening to it, you know, Law and Order don't care. They're not even in the gaming community. They're just going to take anything they see in the news, make a story about it, spin it, and they're on to the next story. They're not maliciously attacking
Right,
anybody.
they didn't attack that game itself.
They don't care because they don't really read into the politics. They just say, hey, there's something going on in gaming right now. Let's spin it and twist it. And they're always going to spin it in a certain way because our show is about sex crimes and things like that. So it's going to be spin. So,
but I really don't buy it. When you look at an older episode, it becomes quite clear that this portrayal wasn't done by accident.
I don't know that.
Get up. All right, shut it off. Get
Janice
up.
coin on the left. I know. I got
Grab
it.
it.
I'm
Grab
trying.
it.
Hang on, Caleb.
Janice coin. Get the Janice coin.
I am. Shut up. I got it. Hey. What?
Whoa! Where the hell did you come from? The real world. Join us.
Oh yes, you can totally just walk in on people like that without them noticing. Brilliant writing. But that's my take on the infamous Imitation Game episode, and I have to say that watching it was quite an experience, to say the least. I rarely get the chance to watch something this unbelievably stupid, and it was actually quite entertaining. However, the episode did everything wrong and it did nothing right. So I'm gonna have to give Imitation Game a 1 out of 10.
Fucking thing sucks!
And that's all I wanted to say about the episode, so thank you all for watching and I'm out of here. Bye bye.
What did they do to you? They leveled up.
No. No.
They leveled up.
No. No.
Oh.
Leveled up.
I used to say it all the time back in Cali. You couldn't stop me saying this word.
Leveled up.
This.
Leveled up.
That. The fuck.
Hold these two buttons down.
Go home, gamer girl.
Get out of here.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Do I really need to be here? Leslie, chill out.
Chill out. Seriously?
They leveled up. Mr. Kaplan, why don't you have a seat?
Think maybe you could run that by me one more time?
Mr. Kaplan, why don't you have a seat?
No, still didn't catch it.
Mr. Kaplan, why don't you have a seat?
I don't know what you're saying, buddy. Fuck you.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer every night.
Amazonian warriors is non-violent and non-stupid.
They leveled up.
Oh. I don't know what that means.
Game over! Game over? I think there has to be a game first for it to be over. Maybe they're talking about the game of life.
Basically, the plot of it is a bunch of gamers who just hate women being in gaming. And so they decide to go on a terrorist rampage, kidnapping and raping her, and then they start taunting the police. And it's like, do you think that someone's going to do this over video games? Actually become a terrorist over video games? Just, what the fuck? That's the premise. That was honestly the premise. It was just like, wow, this is just.
Did they make the Gamergate SUV?
The Law and Order.
Weirdo driving around.
Law and Order.
Yeah, the Law and Order. Everyone. That
SVU.
Was,
SVU.
That was like.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
he leveled up.
Yeah, they leveled up.
They leveled up.
They leveled up.